quilting friends. I'm Edyta Sitar from Laundry Basket Quilts. Welcome to Quilting Window and today's class on simple square in a square. One of my favorite low blocks. Look at this gorgeous quilt behind me. All those low squares set into another square. Are you ready to learn this technique and learn this low block? I think this one is perfect for anyone, beginner or advanced quilters that just trying to create a beautiful album of scraps. So come on in and let's have fun. I'm gonna show you also a second fun option, a little 4-patch in the square. This is gonna be a little treat in the end of the show. When you want to make a quilt like this, you're gonna need scraps in darks and you're gonna need a light accent fabric. For scraps in dark, I love to use a beautiful jelly rolls because the jelly rolls is already 2.5-inch strips and you can cut 2.5-inch squares and work from there. I'm gonna show you a generic block. The block that I'm showing you is from one of our little Quilts Club quilts, this little cutie. This one is 2 5/8 for the little square in the center, and then 2 3/8 for those little half square triangles on the outside. This is gonna work for any of your quilts. This is a fun little basic pattern for my Low Quilts Club girls and guys that join us every month. This is such a fun quilt. All right, let's start it. For a dark fabric, for a light fabric, you're gonna need a beautiful accent, and I want to start with that. You're gonna have all your scraps for your low center squares. This is going to be your low scraps. And then for the setting triangles, for this background fabric right here, I love to use either a light fabric with a delicate print. It cannot have a lot of design in it. It has to be cool, calm, and collected. Or you can use a solid, like linen texture or solid fabric, muslin, because you want to frame each individual fabric nicely in the center. You can also use a darker fabric for your setting triangles. Just remember, you want to use the same color through all of them to calm down some of the scrappiness and craziness of your little fun little squares. I also have a gorgeous Sea Breeze layer cake. Sea Breeze collection had a lot of beautiful light options that I thought maybe you want to choose from. This one was from the Sea Breeze collection. So go to our website, you can find all those cute fabrics. For now, I already have my squares cut. I'm gonna put that little 4-patch to the side. I have my squares cut and I have my half square triangles cut. How do I cut my half square triangle? I take a square and I cut it once diagonally to create 2 half square triangles. I need 4 of them for one block. I'm gonna need 4 of them for one block, just like this. Then I'm gonna turn my sewing machine. I have put a beautiful Macrotex needle, sharp Macrotex needle 70 into my sewing machine. I'm gonna be using this gorgeous thread 2310. I already have it right here and I'm ready, and I have also a cotton thread in my bobbin. I'm gonna start by positioning my light triangles right in a center on each side of my dark square. How do you find that center? After making few of them, you're gonna be a pro. But at the beginning, you can take your square, gently crease it, notice this crease, then take your triangle, very gently without stretching the triangle, crease it, and now you're gonna match crease to crease. This is the middle of your triangle and the middle of that side for your little square. I'm gonna put a pin, and next I'm gonna go ahead and sew. I'm gonna be using a 1/4-inch seam allowance. I already have a low leader on my sewing machine so my threads don't fall out of the needle. It's nice to do that. And I'm gonna be using a chain sewing technique. I'm using a 1/4-inch seam allowance. I'm pulling up the pin before I get to it, and I'm gonna gently do a beautiful sewing and sew my triangles to the side. Let me do another one just so you see. Chain sewing is so much fun. With my second one, I know can easily eyeball it. I need an equal space on the left and the right, centered up my triangles. But if you're still questioning, let's repeat it, our first step. If you're still questioning where is that center, where to match it up, you crease your triangle. You're gonna crease the square. Look at this, very gently, okay? And now you're gonna match and match, just like this, okay? Match and match, and you're gonna go ahead and place this right under here and stitch. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. As soon as the pieces come out on this side, what you're going to do is you're going to be pushing this open. You're gonna push the triangle and a square right there open and push your seam allowance towards the center, and you're gonna proceed by sewing another triangle on this side, and again center it up just like this, okay, and put it right under my foot of a sewing machine. Match it up, make the edges, make sure you have a nice 1/4-inch seam allowance, and you stitch right down. All right, we could be sewing like this all afternoon, enjoying little quiet time, pushing the seam allowances towards a center square, another low square. As soon as you do that, as soon as you place your first two, and did you notice I finger press? I didn't go ahead and iron it yet. In just a moment, I'm going to iron as soon as I finish sewing 2 more squares on the top and the bottom of my low unit. Look at this. So right there you have your square. You're gonna push it open. Isn't that wonderful? If you have any questions, make sure you leave me a comment under the video, because I always look through those comments and then I can answer your questions. Notice I have my 2 opposite triangle done. Now I'm gonna need one on the top and one on the bottom. And again, you're gonna find the center. You can just simply now fold this. Do you see what I'm doing? Gently crease it, just to give you that first guide. The first one is always the one that we like, are we positioned this right? So just to help you, you're gonna match it up, lovely. Put a pin into it, wonderful. And like I said, if you're doing chain sewing, you'll be going through 20, 30 of them. Maybe you want to set up a goal that every day you would do 10 little squares, and in 20 days you have 200 squares and 1/4 of the quilt done, and you can keep going like that and enjoy yourself. The chain sewing and prepping all your pieces, that is gonna make such a difference that your assembled block would be beautiful. I'm pulling the pin. Make sure you never sew over the pin. You do not want to do that. And now I need one on the other block that I'm making with you guys. We're gonna have such a cute blocks, and as soon as I finish sewing them, I'm gonna show you how to square up your block to make sure that it's perfect. So now my second triangle, I'm already noticing how easy it is. 1/4 inch overlap, really nice. I'm gonna be stitching from here straight down. Look at it, it's really nice. So I can go ahead and start sewing. I didn't even pin this one. I'm so excited about just moving forward and creating this cute little block. Are you excited about it? You're probably gonna ask, Can I make those bigger or smaller? Yes, absolutely. If you wanted to, you can make your squares bigger in the center. You can fussy cut fabric and create an I Spy quilt with low flowers, low strawberry, low animals in it. This is a fun quilt for a baby, and I cannot wait to show you. I have 2 other examples of this quilt, this design, so you can see it, how fun and exciting it is. But starting with a small project like this may be exactly what you need to learn and practice. So our little quilts club is a wonderful idea to join, because in our little quilts club I pick fun designs that you can make little quilts, not miniature quilts, just small quilts, learn the technique, and then enjoy in a larger quilt. How do you join our little quilts club? You just go to our website at laundrybasketquilts.com, and we on a website have signed up, and you can just join. Is a subscription, and every month you get a beautiful quilt. Some of the quilts are pre-cut, some of them you cut it yourself, some of them for hand piecing, machine piecing. Oh, we have so many incredible techniques that you can learn through it. This kit came into you as a pre-cut kit in our Low Quilts Club. Let me show you how it looks. You received the pattern. There were 2 quilts that month that come in. You got a 1 bonus quilt, and in your packet you get all the pre-cut pieces for both of the quilts. So the whole quilt come in a cute package like this, completely pre-cut, and then your sashing, your border, anything that you need is included. So you have all those pieces as well in your package. This was your other bonus quilt. I'm gonna show you that one in just a moment. And even backing is included in our little quilts club. So it's a really good program to learn and to make wonderful quilts, and you get those kits just available through that little quilts club. So right there, I'm gonna be sewing my next little square. I'm super excited about it. This is so much fun. And please remember, when you're standing or sitting in front of your machine, you need to be sitting front of the needle. Do not sit front of the machine. Right front of the needle, right in the middle of your chest, with both hands rested beautifully on each side of the foot, so you can feed your pieces nice and gently without pulling on them, very gently, so they come out nice for you. Another thing that I like to do to get my blocks nice is square up my blocks. So I just finished my block. It looks wonderful. I will finger press it or take my little tool and press it. That is great. And now I'm gonna grab my little ruler, and I highly recommend this 4.5 by 4.5 Creative Grids little ruler. I'm gonna place it over my unit and check. Wow, nice and close. I'm gonna have to be a little bit more shy on my 1/4-inch seam allowance. I took too big of a 1/4-inch seam allowance, but I still have a little bit of trimming to do. Why am I saying I need to be a little bit more shy? So I don't absorb as much fabric, and I have a little bit more to square and trim. Wonderful. Another side. Oh, it's just so close, but I know I have to work on it. You know, I don't use this machine all the time. I use it for filming, but it's still beautiful, beautiful block. I'm gonna lift this side and also cut off those bunny ears right here, because if I don't need them, I don't want them inside my quilt. I want to make it nice and easy when I'm sewing my blocks with another square, nice and easy. And when you're sewing your blocks, you're going to be pushing your seam allowance towards this area. I'm going to show you this in this little guy. Look at this. Isn't that cute? You're going to keep going, keep making those. If you're making our little quilts club quilt, you're going to be making a whole bunch of them. I have 2, 4, 6, 8 of them. 8 of them are part of this quilt. Let me move this. So now, once I finish my squares, I square them up. I'm gonna go ahead and set set them with another square, just plain. I'm using this pink for this one. I'm going to be pushing the seam allowance towards the square, sew it into rows, sew rows together, and now I have this cute little beautiful quilt. Isn't that fun? Isn't that so sweet? I promised to show you the other quilt that came in that package. Look at it. It was just simple strips. Isn't that fun? So sometimes those are the fun and simple projects that you can play with it. But I promise you that we would take to another level with this gorgeous little square. So we just made a plain one, and I want to show you something. If you wanted to, you can sew 2 strips together. Those strips are 1.5 inch 1.5 inch width each. Now I'm gonna cut units that are 1.5. I cut one and this one, perfect. So I have 2 of them. And now what I'm going to do is I just rotate, place it right sides together, sew it, and I have a beautiful 4-patch. So instead of a plain square in a center like I have it here, I can go ahead and make little 4-patch, and now I can set in my 4-patch inside. And this one I use the beautiful linen texture to just pop the color with that linen texture. This is really fun one. It looks exciting. So sometimes I can have a square, sometimes I can put some 4 patches. I can wait to show you this quilt. Look at this. This is all done with 4 patches. Isn't it beautiful? It's big and beautiful, and it's set into the medallion setting. I'm going to try to open this quilt. It's very big. Look at this. Isn't it fun? You can find this pattern called Illusion on our website, and it has all the measurements for those 4 patches and how to lay this out to the medallion. But I also want to share with you this fun antique quilt that I have. Look at how bright, how happy it is, and it has square in a square, but this time square in a square in dark fabric and light as a accent color, like here we had that pink. Isn't that fun? So I hope you're going to grab all your little strips and scraps and all your little leftovers and start making little square in a square to enjoy in a big quilt or maybe in a little one. Happy quilting, and I hope you join our little quilts club.